Yo, what is up guys? And today we have another tier list for you guys today featuring 4-star units, and we're going to be talking about the PvE aspect in this game. Now keep in mind that this is just my opinion, you guys don't have to agree. In fact, if you guys have some disagreements, let me know in the comments down below what you actually think. Also guys, if you guys like these tier lists, make sure you guys subscribe and leave a like to actually get more of these in the future and get notifications, because we'll be dropping a lot of tier lists because I actually have to update quite a few because it's been a while. That being said, we're going to separate these units into 5 tiers. We first have the S tier, which will feature units that are extremely powerful in multiple areas of content. Then we'll have the A tier, which will feature units that are decent in a lot of areas of content. Next we have B tier units. These units will be decent, but not, the best option. There might be some better 5 stars or even 4-star options. C tier, these units will have a very, very small niche that you want to use these units for. And D tier, you guys want to just stay away from these units altogether. So I'm going to start off right from the top here. We have Katie's. I'm going to drop her in the B tier because she is a Soul Weaver. Soul Weavers are very good in this game because they heal, obviously, and they give you a lot of cleansing. And Katie's can also give you invincibility, which is pretty nice. Only thing is she gets outshined by other Soul Weavers, but if you really, really want to use her, you actually can. Next, we have Angel of Light Angelica. This unit is terrible. Silence is so useless in PvE. The only thing that you can really use her for is, I guess, her AoE strip and unbuffable. But she does no damage. Her damage scaling is terrible, so there's no ever reason to actually use her. On the flip side, we have regular Angelica. This unit, in my opinion, is an S tier unit because until you get Tamarind, guys, which is the best 5-star unit in the game for PvE, just unit overall actually, Angelica is your best bet, and she will be an S tier, or even I guess a high A tier, somewhere within this. But I'm going to put her in S tier because she is the easiest tank to gear for Wyvern, which is going to be the way you farm all your gear, right? And if Angelica is the easiest tank to gear, you might as well gear her first so you can get into Wyvern farming more quicker, so you can have more gear to work with. Next we have Armin. So Armin is going to be primarily a PvP unit. I'm going to put her in the D tier as well. She's not really that good. She's okay for PvP actually because she's good against cleave, but in PvE she's pretty useless. Assassin Cartusia, he's an evasion unit, pretty useless as well. I guess he's better than these guys, but the thing is, evasion is only a thing you really use in PvP. Next we have Assassin Sid. Not going to really ever want to use him. I'm going to put him in the C tier because his damage is okay and he has a defense break, but for the most part you definitely want to stay away from him. Next up we have Assassin Coley, similar to A Sid, but the thing is she doesn't have that defense break, so we're going to put her in the D tier as well. Next up we have Auxiliary Lots. This unit's actually going to be used in Earth Expedition, but the thing is you have to manual it with him, so it's not that great. But I guess he does have a niche and he's very good at it, so I'm going to put him in the C tier. Bad Cat Armin, strictly a PvP unit, we're going to put her in the D tier, not much to be said. Benevolent Roman, same thing because of the fact that, he's just a CR pushback unit in PvP. Blaze Dingo, S tier unit. This unit is criminally underrated. He has a ton of damage, he has attack buff for himself, he has sustain, not just for him but for his entire team, so he has a lot of things in his kit. Only thing is really missing is a defense break, I guess. But he does a lot of damage, he does a lot of healing, and he's a very good jack-of-all-trades starter unit. He can carry you through a lot of content. Next we have Bloodblade Karen. I'm going to put her in the A tier. She's very good for some hunt one-shots. She was also a very good adventure mode farmer in the past. She's still very good right now. The thing is, she's not as good as before because of the fact that you don't really need one unit to carry, all the fodder and dogs and units like that anymore. So she does drop in ranks, but I'm going to put her in the bottom of A tier. Next we have Cartusia. This unit's terrible, needs buffs, not used anywhere for PvP or PvE. Next we have Celestial Mercedes. I'm going to put her in the B tier because she's used in a lot of hunt one-shot comps. She's actually a decent PvE unit as well for just, AoE damage. Next we have Challenger Dominion. I'm going to put her in the S tier. This unit is very, very good. She has a crit chance buff to your entire team. If you actually make her the fastest on your team, she can actually just make the gear requirements of all your units easier by 50% crit rate, especially your damage dealers. And she does crazy single target, especially if you manual. She can one-shot some bosses in Hell Raid. She can one-shot bosses in Abyss almost. Not Abyss, but I guess do a lot of damage. And the fact that her CR gets pushed up when you have a crit proc on your team makes it so that if you pair her with an AoE damage dealer, which she doesn't have any damage for, she doesn't have any AoE damage, then she can actually push herself up very, very frequently with her S2 passive. Now we have Champion Zerato, guys. So Champion Zerato is extremely good, very good for raid because he can solo, and not solo, but he can auto hell raid. He can also solo some Aztec stages, so I'm going to put him in the bottom of A tier. I think he's not as good as Challenger Dominion because she's used in a lot more areas of content, especially because she has no debuffs in her kit and because she is more flexible, but still a very good unit. Next, we have Sid. So Sid is very, very good in Ice Expedition. You can also use him in Hall of Trials very easily. You can also use him in just like any area of content where you need a decent single target damage dealer. The thing is, he doesn't really excel in anything for PvE. He's very good in PvP though, so we're going to put him in the B tier. Next, we have Clarissa. I'm going to put her in the B tier as well. She is a very good unit for Wyvern, but that's pretty much it. You can also use her as like a one-shot first wave clear for Wyvern. The thing is, her gear requirements are way higher than like Seaside Bologna. Next, we have Coley. This unit is very bad for PvE. They tried to rework her for PvP, but she's not that good either. Corvus, same thing, not that great at all. Next, we have ML Rin. So ML Rin's actually pretty good for Queen for like raid. The thing is, that's the only place where you can use her, so you can put her in the top of C tier, I guess, similar to like Auxiliary Lots. Crimson Armin, honestly, like you can use her to cheese some abyss stages with her invincibility, but same thing, just like a common niche, top of the C tier probably because there are more applications you can use her. Crozet, will put him at the bottom of B tier. You can use him as a Wyvern tank. He can also be part of a 3-man Wyvern team, but there's not really a point for that anymore, so not that useful. But he is a good Wyvern tank because he does have a debuff on his S1. The thing is, that debuff overlaps with a 3-star unit known as Mui now, who's very good, so, not that great. Dingo, D tier, not that great either. Dominion, D tier, not that good either. Fighter Maya, also terrible. She's gonna be, actually, that's a lie. She's gonna be in the C tier because she's very good in Hall of Trials, but that's pretty much it. Free Spirit Terraria, so I'm gonna put her in the S tier actually, which might be a hot take, but she is a very good one-shot unit for Azmonak. You can also use her for Banshee if you want. You can use her for Katie's as well. And her AoE farming is very good early game, and the fact that you get her so early, you can build her very easily, makes her a pretty good unit. Actually, I'll drop her to a tier. Actually, I'm going to keep her in S tier. I think S tier works fine for her. On that note, though, let me drop Champion Zerato because I think he is a little bit overrated in my opinion. But next, we have Furious, guys. He is a Wyvern God. I'm going to put him at the top of A tier just because you don't really need him anymore, although he's still very good for Wyvern because, there's a lot of defense breakers and a lot of units you can use in Wyvern now. There's not really a reason you shouldn't use him, but he is very, very good. Actually, on that note, I'm going to bump him up to S tier because I forgot you can use him in one-shot hunts as well for Katie's. He's very, very good, and he's also used in one-shot Wyvern if you really want to make a team comp with him, and he's, like I said, one of the best defense breakers for Wyvern. General Purges, I guess we'll put him in C tier or bottom of B tier. He was a really good Wyvern tank back in the day, but now you don't really need him because you have Mui. And Mui's S2 doesn't work with General Purges on your team. But I guess he does have that CR push and AoE attack buff, which can be useful. Great Chief Kawana, I'm going to put at the bottom of A tier. Very decent single target DPS. I think she's very useful. She's mostly going to be used for like Hades, but outside of that, you're not going to really use her in any area over other units, but she's still pretty decent overall. Guider, either terrible. ML Kawazu, also terrible for PvE. Karin, good for Wyvern one-shot. That's pretty much it. Kind of similar to General Purges, so I'll put her about here probably because you can also use her in regular Wyvern if you want. Kawana is actually not that bad, but the thing is you need like a full fire team for her to work, so I'm going to put her over there. Kawazu, not useful at all. Kitty Clarissa, easy top of A tier, S tier. I think I'm going to put her in the S tier because she's so good in Abyss, so good in Hall of Trials, so good in Ancient Inheritance, so I'm going to put her around here. I think she is very, very strong, and I think people need to give her more credit. Kizna AI, not that good, and she's also, hard to get now because actually you can't even get her anymore if you're new to the game. Next we have Leo, so I'm going to put Leo in the B tier. He's going to be a good hunt activator with his defense break, so for like Banshee, so that's pretty much it. But he is very, very good there and one of the best, if not the best for Banshee one-shot, so he deserves a spot in the B tier, honestly. Lots, same thing as A-Lots, you can use him, I guess, in that Ice Expedition, but you have to manual. Maya, terrible. Mercedes, easy A tier. I'm going to put her in the top of A tier because she has a lot of AoE damage, very good AoE damage dealer, and the revive makes her really, really safe, especially once you get that upgrade. Next we have Moon Bunny Dominion, only really used for PvP, but very good in Cleave. Peacemaker Furious, not really good anywhere, even though it seemed like he'd be okay. Purges is kind of like a cheesy PvP unit, but not that great, so we're going to put him back down there. Rin, also Soul Weaver, but not that great either. Roaming Warrior Leo, also a PvP only unit. Roman, needs buffs, terrible unit. Rose, actually we're going to put around the B tier, I'd say, just because she is so good at attack buffing for Wyvern. If you actually make her Wyvern tank, your Wyvern tank, she can make your runs a lot faster because she has that attack buff. Just keep in mind that you are sacrificing, more bulk and more healing from like an Angelica pick, right? But with Rose, you can actually speed up your runs if your damage is already pretty high. Shuri, I'm going to put him in the bottom of A tier because he's very good in Abyss. His CR manipulation is crazy, and he's very, very strong in that regard. He also does pretty decent damage. I think he's pretty underrated, so hot take, I'll put him in the A tier. Cirilla, not that good. This unit is just kind of like for cosmetics. If you know, you know. Shadow Rose, same thing as Leo. She is a, defense breaker for Banshee one-shot, and even like Azmonak, so I'm going to put her in the B tier, somewhere around here. I think Leo is just better for Banshee though, because he can have Song of Stars. You can also equip him with Miss Confile, which can give you an extra chance to defense break. Next we have Shooting Star Arcades. This unit is a cheesy PvP unit, so no use in PvE. Silk, we'll put her somewhere in the C tier. She is good for like 1 or 2 floors in Abyss. Sinful Angelica, one of the best attack buffers for Wyvern one-shot. Actually, I think she is gonna be the unit that you need for Wyvern one-shot, so somewhere around here. I think there's only like 1 or 2 comps that don't use Sinful Angelica and Wyvern one-shot, which you definitely want to make, so let's put her here because she's so good. Somewhere random, I guess. And then next we have Cern here. She's going bottom of D tier. We have Tempest Cern, D tier as well, not that good. These units are both going to be for PvP. Troublemaker Crozet, same thing, D tier unit. Wander Silk, we'll put her next to Silk because you can actually use her in the same Abyss form, pretty sure. Watcher Shuri, this unit is actually pretty decent. I'm going to put him at the bottom of A tier because he is a very strong single target damage dealer, and he also is good for Azmonak and also Katie's one-shot. Kind of required if you don't have like Straze, so very good unit. Next we have Zerato, PvP unit only. So yeah, that pretty much covers the tier list for these 4-star units, guys. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion, and it's for PvE, and yeah, you definitely don't want to build these CD tier units, not worth it. But if you want to use like Silk, or I guess like Wanderer Silk, or like Lots and A-Lots, I would just keep them at 5-star and they should do their job. All of these units will do their job at 5 stars, honestly, for PvE, except like Assassin Sid, I guess, and maybe like Fighter Maya for Hall Trials, but for the most part, they'll be very, very good. Being up, like these units are very, very good for PvE, so you definitely want to consider using them, especially if you're new to the game and are lacking a lot of 5-star units and bookmarks to pull with. That being said, I hope you guys found this tier list helpful, guys. If you guys want to see more, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment down below, and like I said, it is just my opinion, so you're allowed to disagree. That being said, I'll see you guys next time.